Horrendous.
So someone, there's a boot mark here, someone's kicked in the back of our hire car and just dented that whole thing in for no reason whatsoever. Just check the rest of the car.
Can't you hold on? Don't let me go. I do. I wanna know.
So we stayed in relatively nice accommodation last night. As you can see, it's quite a nice room. Henny's over there packing up the fruit and vegetables and clothes and stuff. We're doing day by day as far as booking hotels goes. And Hanny was looking, so you can see the map here. We're up here on the coast, and this is where yesterday's stage finished. We were going to stay in Valencia, but the problem with staying in a larger centre is you've got to park the car, and it's hard to park the car in these large cities. So we decided to stay in the finished town of yesterday's stage. Now, what we're going to try and do, and I think if you were to come to these events as a spectator, I think it's always better to stay in the town of the start stage the next day. How is this race? Is it as hard as everyone says it is?
Yeah, I think it's definitely as hard as everyone says it is. It's certainly harder than anything I've ever done before. It's like a week-long stage race, the same speed, the same stress, yet it's 3 weeks long.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other day I had a bit of a get down. Got a puncture about 90k into the stage and got a wheel from Neutral Spares, and I think it was a brand new tyre. Quite a lot of pressure in it, and first roundabout after getting going again just dropped it in the convoy. So that wasn't ideal. Made what was a pretty hard stage a fair bit harder.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is. I think most guys have at least you know, some type of small incident throughout a Grand Tour, so I think I was lucky that mine wasn't too bad and got through the day okay, and I've recovered alright. I'm from Brisbane. Okay. Yeah, well, I guess I've sort of taken my own pathway compared to a lot of other Aussies. Went through 2 years of junior worlds with the national team, but I came through with quite a good crop. Guys like Caleb Ewan, Brad Linfield, and quite a lot of other good track riders. And I just missed the boat with the national program, but I thought it was pretty important to get over to Europe, so I sort of put some feeders out and ended up on a team, amateur French team, and spent 3 years there before moving to Seg Racing, a development team, and then to here.
And where do you live in Europe?
I live in Girona for the last. This is my second year in Girona. Before that, I lived in France, in a town near Lyon. I think it has its positives and its negatives. It's a good thing, you know, having a lot of guys to ride with if you want them to be there. But then sometimes it's hard to get away from the bubble that is professional cycling. You know, it's easy to get sort of caught up at a coffee shop and the only thing you're talking about is contracts, races, results, what riders are up to with, you know, their personal lives, and it can get a bit much. So it certainly has its positives with having good mates around to ride with, to hang out with, but there's also the negatives.
One thing I've noticed at the Vuelta is they are very organised. They've got, unlike the Tour de France, they've got this very fast internet setup, which is completely free. At the Tour de France, you have to pay some colossal figure for internet. They've got this awesome paella, so the paella is sensational. So what they do is they've got this paella in a massive, what would you say, saucepan, fry pan thing, bowl thing. And
I'm sure there's an actual word for it.
Yeah, there's an actual word for the bowl they use, but it is sensational. Check out the food, the bowl that we had the other day, 2 days ago for lunch. That is the biggest bowl of paella that I've ever seen in my life. Thank you. All right, so here we go. Oh, that is sensational. I mean, not only is it a big bowl of soup, but it's quality as well.
And I'll have these.
Why are you giving me those ones?
Because I've had them already. Because we only get one of each.
Where are we going to live?
I have no idea. Probably in a hotel for the first few weeks.
So when we get back to Melbourne on around the 15th of September, after the Vuelta, we've got to live in a hotel for, we've been looking at long-term hotels in Melbourne. So if anyone's got an Airbnb or a granny flat or something that they want to offer us for a couple of weeks while we look for a rental, it would be immensely helpful.
Really good. Yeah, I didn't expect to be at the Vuelta.
So was that unexpected?
Yeah, I wasn't even supposed to be at the tour. Like, I initially only came for the Giro Rosa, but still here, still in Europe.
Again, a hard stage, never flat, some wind, and always nervous. It felt a bit the same, but yesterday it felt a bit more hilly. But if you see the height, the altitude meters, it was today more hilly. Yeah. It was always up and down, never flat part, and if it was flat, it was open and wind, so it was a hard stage. I'm happy.
Good job, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, everyone suffers a bit. It's 5.5 hours. I think guys were tired from the start. There were 2 crashes in the neutral, like pretty big ones. Not sure if you saw it or not, but we came to a stop before the race started again because there was 2 separate crashes. Well, I think one guy on the left hit a cat eye, hand slipped off the bars, and then he fell, and a few other guys fell with him. Yeah. And then the second crash, there was those green kind of bollard cone things, and a guy just went straight into it. So
well,
maybe a few tired bodies. I don't know.
Vamos en la línea de meta con Manuel Fernández en el podio de hoy, haciendo la entrega a Kili Froome el premio de la clasificación de la combinada. Enhorabuena, le abrocha el maillot.
One thing about the Vuelta is the press room is a lot quieter than what it was at the Giro and the Tour de France. I don't know if you can see behind me, but this place is practically empty and has been all day. But they certainly do look after the press. They've got beautiful meals, as the paella that I showed you earlier. They've got cold drinks and stuff, so massive kudos to the organisation for laying it on for the staff, for the media. We're dealing with standstill traffic at the moment, and I think we might be getting a bit of rain coming through. We're driving to our accommodation for tonight. It's a 2-hour drive from where the finish was just then, and then we've got an hour's drive tomorrow to the start of the next stage. This morning we drove a half an hour to the start of the stage, and then we drove 2 hours. Once they took off, we drove 2 hours, or 2.5 hours, to get to the next stage. So it's been a long day of driving, all up about 5.5 hours of driving, all up, and we're pretty cooked. It's been a tough day for the vlog, so we're going to get to our accommodation in an hour or thereabouts. The traffic looks pretty hectic with the Vuelta as well, so that sort of adds an element to it. How you feeling, Han? You pretty cooked?
Tired, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long day for us both. us about an hour to get here. It's a pretty good hotel. I've stayed in B&B hotels before in France. And yeah, I'm going to go up and edit the rest of this vlog. We're at the same hotel.
That's funny.
Isn't it funny how the media all end up at the same hotels randomly?
I don't know, I think everybody look for the good hotels on booking. Yeah.
How much was it? $45.
45 euro, yeah.
I think I'm for 41.
Ah!
41 euro?
Yeah. Well, and I didn't even book it. It's my Dutch colleague Leon who
Did he?
he found this hotel, so I was like, okay.